Can everyone hear me now? Is that? Yeah, great. So you can hear me at the back, just wave. If you, yeah. I am actually genuinely Clive Barber. That's the first thing. Nowadays you have to be careful, isn't it? And I've been speaking a minute ago, even I had a phone call on the way in 2 days ago, and a guy on the phone said, "Are you Clive Barber?" And I was, "Yeah, I am." So we just need to do data protection then. I was like, well, I am Clive Barber. The world's changed, and my world changed. I'm speaking to Joe a few days ago, and I'm only going to be brief before you all get off what message. I haven't got any messages other than the messages of the experts, but the only thing that I'm here with this lovely lady's introduced me, and my line of work was in mental health. I was doing 28 years. It was a very ward environment. It taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about how the life is the minutiae and the most smallest detail, and people who are very hard to reach, people who've been washed up or for whatever matter. But often it was the smallest thing that as teams and staff that we had to respect in their lives, you know. But before we go to that, I just want to say my background, you're in my hometown. Okay, so Birmingham, welcome to Birmingham. And if you guys, any Brummies in this room tonight? Fantastic. These guys know what the word Boston means, don't you? You don't know what that means, do you? Or when Boston means, it's really great, yeah? And we thought the Pet Shop Boys were called Boston. If you get that, but that's the truth. It's Boston. Or the words like it's great and tickle your ears. And that's the reason I'm mentioning that is that there is a thing in Birmingham, and the two guys have just put their hands up, is that because we're in the middle of the country, we kind of have to put up with, not the north gets these things that, because my wife over there is from the north, that, you know, these things that you wear flat caps if you got electricity. There's all these things in the London, you know, but Birmingham, we actually just get on with it. And with that in mind, the theme I want to capture here is that I got struck by the nature God, because I'm not religious, but this thing hit me 4 years ago. My background meant I was ready for things. I'd seen a lot of devastation in family therapies, which I've done. But to be honest, it was so bonkerly rare that my background at the time, and I was immersed with consultants of different backgrounds, no one had heard of this thing at all. And I know that's familiar for all of us now, but I really did think. So on the Friday at Specsavers, Sunday morning, I still haven't really managed to utter this to Helen or, you know, the kids, if you like. But I wasn't panicking because I'm thinking I might be quite special. You know, you know what I mean? But anyway, by the sort of Sunday and the Monday, I kind of felt like the guy, and everyone's familiar with the moon landings of the 60s. And there was a story I remember reading as a kid, that the guy who was in the module, Two Guys on the Planet, is that every time he went around the dark side of the moon, he was on his own for half an hour. And he would look out the window and he'd say, there is 3 billion people. And then at this window, he didn't see anything. And he felt the most alone man of our entire history, you know. But I felt like him. It really was devastating until, that's what I'm trying to capture here with you guys, till I found this group. And I really mean it. And the bit I'm going to try and now get to the next phase, back to the Brummie bit, I'm going to try and get us all to start getting so like the Ready Brick adverts. I want to see a lot of face. I'm not going to do stand-up, but we'll do a little bit that might make us think how special we all are, our relatives, our loved ones with us today, you know. And the humour of that, in my line of work, and back to, I'll give you a kind of scenario which really stuck with me on that era of the start, was that we'd have people who would be, when we were in an environment where people were in very revolving door guys, you know. And this one guy we had, named James, and very, very like us, very alone, because that's what matters of the mind can do. And our alone was a physical thing. But I really identified with this story, and it stuck out for me. No one could really get this guy to interact. He would be happy to. But one day I literally knocked on his door and, you know, and I said, it's Clive James. And the guy just burst into hysterics on the other side of the room. And of course, I then realised what he's laughing at. It's Clive James. Anybody's familiar with the personality, Clive James, the presenter. And I know it's hard to convey this at the start of this little bit, but it really broke the ice. And we did amazing things with this guy. And this guy got back out and was a music kind of producer thing. And he really got... So yeah, when I sat at these tables, and I've just been speaking to my lovely guys on this table, is that when I spoke to Joe a few days ago about breaking the ice and these how historical, or we could look amateur, the mics don't, no, we're absolutely, it's not about that. We're organised, and if it's organised, and the gatherings that I've been to, from the moment I suddenly had chance to see people who have got, unfortunately, this infliction, you suddenly didn't feel alone. But when we found the group, then the humour started. Then I'd sit at the tables, the lovely Leslie, I don't know if anybody in the guys know Leslie. I could probably think I knew Leslie before. I think if I got sat in the National Trust building, she and me would be moaning about the jam, the price of the jam, total strangers, you know. So I think that's what I'm going to try and convey to you all now. Get you sort of thinking, let's all relax and enjoy this conference and get past these awkward bits that we've all been thrown into it from a different background. But my background of work, it's the smallest things. We are all connected. We're a family, and I want to call you mates. Yeah? Let's get going.